Great day, beautiful people. This is Prophetess Elisa.
And Pastor Cobb.
We are excited. Today is our first of many posture of parables for our quarter three strands marriage small group, our virtual small group. This is really exciting because we are embracing this space that God has us in, and we are trying to allow the iron of social media to sharpen this posture of parables that we're in and our effectiveness. And one of the things that senior pastor and I sat down and discussed while we were in the posture of global missions month um, was what areas we are called to. Understanding that this is your first time visiting us and you've come on to any of our services, visited us in the East Sanctuary on Sundays for our posture of parables, seated in a teaching position. We talk about RGMI being a gospel watchtower. And that is about equipping, not just guiding, but equipping. And in most instances, in these smaller teams, very intimate spaces. And one of those spaces that most certainly is needed is the teams of marriage, those that have been called to marriage, those that have been called to serve as a spouse. And so we are rising to that challenge to make sure that we are being a good steward, obedient stewards in that area. So we are not going to be before you long in these drops because we want it to be something that you're able to use as conversation starters with you and your spouse, with your own intimate group, for you to fire start, if you will, amongst the community of the marriages within your intimate space of those that you're doing life with. So, of course, everything that we do is sound biblical teaching. It will be based on the word. We will share our foundational text, and then we will have meat of discussion, which is our marriage builders. So, Senior Pastor, what is it that you think about when you think about our foundational text today, Genesis 1, specifically 27 through 31? I could read it or you could read it. And then I know we've kind of fallen in love a little bit with the Passion Translation, but
Well, I'm probably going to, as usual, we don't plan things like we have a set dialogue that we go on. We know that we're talking about a cord of three strands, and we can build on that. That's something that'll be endless, and we just want to spark it, not be preachy so much, but in a posture of parables, or more like discussion, discovery. And anytime you present something, you want it to be foundational so you can build. So you got the teaching portion, you have the pastoral portion, you have the apostolic building foundation, um, and the evangelistical part, which is taking it to everyone. And so even though it's very important, we don't want to make it tedious, and we don't want you pointing finger at the other, right? We want you to look at and examine your role and how it's meaningful and it's purposeful. But when you examine your role, you want to examine it with your partner in mind.
And
And
hopefully you're doing this with your partner. the
yes, yes,
the vision is that this is a team
effort.
building
Yes.
experience, a
Mm-hmm.
team building experience. And so maybe one of the things that we should do, at the beginning of the service, you always do housekeeping. This isn't a service, but let's do, the housekeeping. What are the foundations of this small
Yeah.
group?
So
And
hopefully you in a relaxed mode,
mhm,
and you just have a posture to receive, and that you would just look at it, preferably with a different. Ask God to give you different lenses to view what marriage is all about, and reflect on how you did it, coming together, and what you're doing as you're moving forward. There should be a purpose, not just something to do. Like a lot of people refer to, well, it keeps me from being sexually immoral. There's a whole lot more to marriage than just that. But we want to go deep as we can. We want to exhaust everything about marriage because this is where it started in the church as God created it. And we want to bring it back and not um, have what I call perversion. When you go back to God, it's basically taking off what maybe the world brought, what the devil brought, that was opposite of what God designed, but nonetheless is wrapped and is woven
mhm.
into what we know as marriage, and we get sidetracked a lot of times. But if we can get back to what it is that we're doing in marriage and what God had intended for it and its purpose, we can find that we would enjoy what we're doing in marriage, and it doesn't seem marriage doesn't reflect um, what what it is we were taught, because it's not going back to the original plan.
So one of the things that we'll do when we come into this space, our purpose is just to be the carriers of the word, the carriers of the fire starter,
Mm-hmm.
within your marriage building space. We will offer a foundational text. Our goal is to be no longer than maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And that's in order to give you time to hear what the discussion is for that specific quarter three strand session, and to give you time to be with your sweetie pie, to be
Mm-hmm.
with your honey bun, to talk, because it's difficult sometimes to
It
get
is.
time to sit, and that doesn't mean we're not making excuses. We're just understanding the practicality, and so we want these nuggets and these drops to be convenient. You could Don't be so churchy with it. Don't be traditional with it. If you're riding to the market, if you're going to church, if you're coming
Mm-hmm.
home from picking up the kids and you got a little bit of time before you pick up little Timmy or Jonathan or Angela or whoever from school, throw it on, listen
Yeah.
to it. If you need to listen to it individually and send each other voice notes to discuss it and talk
Or
about it, that's
text.
okay too,
Yeah.
as long as you find a way to do the work. Okay.
Yeah.
So that gives us a
Genesis.
baseline. And then I think actually, if it's okay that we do, because we really would like in the Passion Translation, is it okay to read it?
No.
No.
Yes, go ahead. By
Okay.
all means.
Okay. So we are actually going to be talking about God's romance
Mm-hmm.
today with our foundational text of Genesis 1 through 31. In your own time, read the whole chapter. But for sake of time, we're going to read 27 through 30. Okay, I'm going to read this from the Passion Translation. So God created man and woman and shaped them with his image inside them. In his own beautiful image, he created his masterpiece. Yes, male and female, he created them. And God blessed them in his love, saying, reproduce and be fruitful,
Mm-hmm.
populate the earth and subdue it, reign over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and every creature that lives on earth. And God said, I give you every seed bearing plant growing throughout the earth, vegetables, and every fruit bearing tree with its seed within itself. They will be your food. They will also be food for every animal and bird and every creature that moves on the ground, every creature with the breath of life. And so it happened. God surveyed all he had made and said, I love it, for it pleased him greatly. Evening gave way to morning, day 6. Now, this is the thing. If we go a little bit higher, we are familiar because we say in this pasture parables, we like to go a little deeper, right? And so
Yes.
we understand that a little higher, if we were to exegese this, it talks about it's not good for man to be alone. And we see
God said
this,
that.
God says
Mm-hmm.
this, it's not good. He made all of these things, and at the end of that day, he said, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when man was alone, he said, it is not good, right?
Right.
What I had come to me was very interesting, and I'd like to talk about that. Is that quickly after God's romance creation is debuted, right?
Mm-hmm.
A problem quickly comes. We see conflict arise. We're seeing partnership, right? Right there immediately. Genesis, they come together, he forms them, he
Yeah.
gives them dominion, he gives them partnership, right? They enter into enterprise. But then we also quickly see that there is conflict. And so, one of the things that I thought was good for us to discuss is the concept of society is inadequate without the partnership of marriage. But then also, um, what happens when you are aware of your differences, but those differences create conflict?
Well, so when you look at it, when God formed man and woman, so part of our mission, equipping. So he equipping, that means he provided what they needed to be successful. Um, Even with those tools, there has to be a purpose, right? What is my why? What is our why? Why
Mm-hmm.
are we here? And so when you get off focus from which is the purpose for the mission, so that everything you do is geared towards that. And when you get off focus or if you get off track from that, then those differences are emphasized on a negative, uh, I don't know how I want to say that, on a negative side, as opposed to, because there's differences. So iron sharpens iron, right? You one piece hits the other piece, and so there's a difference in the textures, there's a difference in experience, but as they glide against each other, they begin to sharpen one another. And so those differences can go in a negative way or they can go into a positive way. So that's direct reflection of what is my purpose in my marriage. What is the purpose in your marriage? Our purposes may not be the same. Foundationally, it's the same, obeying God and so forth, so on. But what is it that God wants? What glory did God want from the union of us two? Now we know we're producing. We're doing more than producing children. We're producing in the spirit. We're producing in the natural. Um, in our communities, worldwide, even affecting everything that we do. There's growth. We're producing fruit. Something good is coming out, and everything reflects Christ.